Hello, and welcome to the Second Chapter Variety Show, where we mix cosmic magic with a whole lot of business mastery. I'm your host, Hunter Lowder, your friendly guide to business astrology, here to help you navigate your career's second act with the wisdom of the stars and innovative business strategies. Whether you're new to astrology or have been stargazing since day one, this podcast is your go-to for discovering who you truly are and aligning your business with your unique astrological blueprint. We're going to get real about what actions to take to build a perfect fit business. Each week, you can expect a mix of cosmic insights, practical business tips, and lots of laughter. Whether I'm chatting with guests who've embraced their own second chapters or diving into astro business wisdom, there's always something you can take away and apply to your own business. Welcome to the very first episode of the Second Chapter Society Business Astrology Variety Show. I'm Hunter, and I'm excited you're here. If you've ever felt like your business or career was sucking the life out of you like some kind of joy vampire, draining your enthusiasm, leaving you a husk of your former self, and making you question all of your life choices? No one? Was that just me? Well, either way, you're in the right place. So I really want you to come closer because I have a little secret for you. This is not just another business podcast, and it's not just another astrology podcast either. It's really a journey into understanding who you are at your core and how you can leverage that knowledge to create a business that is successful and deeply fulfilling. We'll be diving into the ancient wisdom of the stars to find out what makes you tick and how you can build an innovative and modern business that's a perfect fit for you. Even creating this podcast was written in my chart. My Mars, Moon, Jupiter, and North Node are all in the 11th house, which is the house of community and collaboration. So that's why launching a podcast where I can interact with people, exchange ideas, foster a sense of community and belonging feels so perfectly aligned with my purpose. Plus, with my Mercury in Gemini in the 9th house, I'm naturally inclined to really explore new ideas, deep dive into really intriguing topics, and love having just engaging, entertaining conversations. I'm basically an honorary member of the Rabbit Hole Society. So if you want to learn how to interpret your own chart and align your business or career with who you are, please hit the subscribe button and stay tuned. I mentioned my North Node in the 11th house, and it happens to be in Leo, which is quite honestly terrifying if you're someone recovering from burnout, but that's a story for a future episode. Your North Node in your chart is your purpose in this lifetime, and my purpose is to step into the spotlight and use that big Leo energy to shine and also to help the greater good. So the 11th house isn't just about community, though. It's also the domain of astrology and technology, since it's traditionally ruled by Aquarius, which is why this show is all about merging the ancient wisdom of the stars with cutting-edge business strategies. We're really here to explore how you can use this cosmic knowledge to build a business that truly reflects your authentic self in today's modern world. No crystal balls required. So to kick off this first episode, I'm passing the mic to my husband, Nick, who's not only a gifted chef and certified wine sommelier, but also a former DJ with a voice that has held my attention for 2 decades. And let's be honest, it wasn't just his DJ voice, it was his damn good singing that actually won me over, belting out Steve Perry from Journey, Meatloaf, and even the Four Tops during many karaoke dates. He even sang at our wedding. So you might be wondering, how does a logical, science-minded Aries atheist end up married to someone who mixes astrology and business? Well, great food, amazing wine, and those karaoke skills might have played a role. But beyond that, he's been my biggest supporter through it all, always encouraging me to follow my passions. And so I thought it was very fitting for him to interview me for the first couple of episodes of the brand new podcast. Come connect with me on social media. I'm on TikTok at Second Chapter Society. Check out the YouTube channel at Second Chapter Society. And you can always visit me at secondchaptersociety.com. Links will be in the show notes. Feel free to share any questions you have. I'm in your corner. All right, let's dive right into this episode. Enjoy.
All right, Hunter, it's such a pleasure to have you here on your own show. Let's dive right in. You've had quite the journey from corporate burnout to embracing astrology as a tool for business. Can you share a little bit about what inspired you to start this podcast and what the idea of a second chapter means to you?
Of course. So the idea of a second chapter is really something that's very personal to me. After burning out in the corporate world, I really found myself at a crossroads. I had built and managed 7-figure businesses, but it came at a cost. So my health was suffering, my happiness, my mental, emotional, my marriage, like everything was just on the rocks. And honestly, my sense of purpose started to suffer as well. So astrology really became my guide during that time because I was trying to figure out who I was, why I burned out, and to make sure that it didn't happen again. It was really about deeply understanding who I am, what I'm here to do, and how I can align my career with my soul's purpose. So I really want to start this podcast just as an extension of that journey to help other people who might be feeling lost or burned out and allow them to find their own second chapter by understanding themselves through astrology so they really can have a career and a life that truly resonate with who they are.
Wow, that's incredibly powerful. And it's clear that you're passionate about blending astrology with business. For those who are new to this concept, can you explain how your astrological signs, your sun, your moon, and your rising sign impact you in business?
Gemini sun, a Virgo moon, and a Libra rising. So each of these placements really play a unique role in how I approach my business. So my Gemini sun sign is all about adaptability, curiosity, communication, aka multi-passionate. It's, why when people meet me, they often say I've already lived like 7 lives. We love to experiment, we love to explore as Gemini. So it really drives me to constantly learn new things. I often say if I could get paid just to learn, that would be my ideal career, but diving into different interests. And then I love to share all of those resources with others. So it also means at the same time, there's a shadow side to all the signs where I really have to be mindful of spreading myself too thin, which is something that Gemini is really known for. And then I've got my Virgo moon, which your moon really influences your emotions. And in business astrology, it really speaks to how I can nurture myself through my business. So Virgo is meticulous, practical, loves to organize. And in business, this really helps me to create efficient systems, stay grounded because Virgo is an earth sign, and pay attention to those details that others might overlook. So it's really important for me to actually build systems in my business in order to nurture myself emotionally and not feel overwhelmed or burned out. Again, the shadow side of that is it also means that I can be my own worst critic. I'm kind of a perfectionist, and that can really be a strength and a challenge. And lastly, I have my Libra rising, which is all about how other people perceive you. So Libra is all about balance, building relationships, harmony. And we are really natural peacemakers, natural mediators, great at seeing all sides of a situation. And so this really helps me a lot in business partnerships and collaborations, which is essentially how I've built this business is not through kind of the traditional one-on-one marketing, but very much leveraging partnerships and collaborations. And I'm really always looking for like win-win scenarios. And how can I bring this harmony and this balance into work? So work-life balance is also a really important thing for me as well. On the flip side, the shadow side, it also means that I sometimes struggle with making decisions because I literally love all the options. And again, with the Gemini sun, that's even further complicated by the fact that there's so many options to choose from, and I like them all. So I've really found actually in doing this work though, that it's really been very difficult for myself and my clients to actually connect with their rising sign because it's how other people see you. So this is still kind of a work in progress for me.
Well, it's absolutely fascinating to see how each part of your chart influences different aspects of your business. Could you share a specific experience or maybe a moment when astrology became a turning point for you in starting your second chapter?
Absolutely. So after I burned out in 2017 and left the corporate world, I honestly found myself completely lost. I did not know who I was anymore. My entire identity had been wrapped up in my career. And when I was gone, I was left with this gaping hole of like, who am I now without being this type A overachiever CEO? Like, who am I? What do I even like? What am I good at? What am I going to do with the rest of my life? So I tried all kinds of personality assessments to really figure out that I love personality assessments. I'm sure I've taken all of them. And if I haven't, please tell me about them because I love taking them. But what I found is that as I began to heal from my burnout, that the results kept changing. And I found that I had literally been doing that my whole life to the point that I didn't know who I was anymore. So that's why I really loved astrology and still love it, of course, is that my birth chart remained the same. So who I was at birth, what my placements are, they were always the same. So who I truly am at my core didn't change as I was healing. So no matter what I was going through or how much I changed, it really was like this objective piece of the puzzle so that I could look at that and then make very creative outside the box decisions about my life and my business once I really understood myself through the astrology lens. It was kind of like that concept of, wherever you go, there you are. So that was me. It's like I could heal, I could adapt, I could try new careers, but I was still the same person who ran herself into the ground before.
Well, that's certainly a powerful journey and an incredible transformation. And it's clear that astrology has been a valuable resource for you. But let me ask, do you have any aha moments where you knew in your soul that astrology was the tool that you wanted to use in your business?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So one of the biggest aha moments was a few years ago. I actually had my first business astrology reading. I had had tons of personal ones before that, relationship ones, even health readings, but I had never had a business reading. So that really introduced me to the possibility of using astrology in business. So this astrologer looked at my chart and told me that my ideal clients are fire signs, which are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And remember I said I was recovering from burnout, so I was terrified. Here I was, like, trying to overcome all these psychological, physical ailments from burnout, and I'm basically being told that I'm destined to work with these type A, passionate, action-oriented, intense fire signs. Like, "No, thank you. I'm good." So when I said that to the astrologer, she said, "Okay, well, the next sign that I would recommend would be water signs for you, which is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces." And she said they're usually healers, they're more emotional, they're focused on solving the world's problems. And I was like, oh, that sounds so nice and fluffy and wonderful.
Mhm.
Fast forward 5 years later, and when I really started to get certified as a business astrologer and learning more about how to identify my ideal clients based on my chart, it struck me. So my ideal client based on my chart is a Aries, and my husband is an Aries, my son is a Sagittarius. My two main clients who I've worked with as a director of operations for over 4 years are a Leo and a Sagittarius. So the truth was like right there in front of me in my chart, and I didn't want to see it. So that was a huge moment of clarity, like really realizing that astrology was not just a tool for self discovery, but really a powerful guide for my business and like an objective resource that I could trust, even when my brain or my heart or my gut was telling me otherwise.
I love that story. And it really shows how the stars don't lie, even if we were a little reluctant to believe them at first.
Speaking of which, I wanted to turn the tables a little bit. You've been asking all these questions so far, but I would love to put you in the hot seat for a moment and talk about that reading that I did for you maybe like a month ago. How did that work out for you?
Oh, you mean the one where you told me to expect some big changes? Well, I have to say I was a little skeptical at first, but then boom, opportunities just started popping up left and right. So it was like the universe was suddenly telling me I was overdue for a few wins. So yeah, after that reading and to see the outcome of putting these strategies in place, I am officially a believer. So who knew being married to an astrologer would pay off so well?
Oh, that's right. I don't think we've actually told anybody on the show that we're husband and wife. So
I think it's going pretty well so far.
pretty well. We've got some good chemistry after almost 20 years married, right?
Absolutely.
So I'd love to
Absolutely.
know what was the biggest aha moment that you had from the reading? What was the biggest thing that came up for you during that reading?
I think it was the perspective of a different way of thinking in my business. I would imagine that any business owner or business professional has an idea of where they want it to go and who they should be hitting. Is it very specific or is it more broad on social media, things like that? What I think the reading taught me, which I think is kind of the point, is how to go after someone specifically based on not the people that I'm attracted to, but the people who are attracted to me.
Right. And that brings back up that rising sign I brought up earlier, and that
Mhm.
the opposite of your rising sign is your descendant, which is what you're talking about, which is your ideal clients. But we'll get into all that later. But I'm so glad you had a good experience with it. That's really the type of magic that I'm trying to bring to this show. So very much real, practical insights that can help anybody, whether it's a brick and mortar business, online business, whether you're just getting started or you're scaling to 8 figures. It really is information that you can use at any stage in life or business.
Yeah, that reading definitely opened my eyes to some possibilities that I had not considered before. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to what's next. Before we wrap up, do you have any advice for listeners who might be feeling like they're at their own crossroads, ready to start their second chapter?
Yes, my advice is really to lean in and find out who you truly are, rediscover who you are, shed all those masks, and really get down to the core. So, astrology is an amazing tool for self discovery, but it is just a tool. So, really, the magic kind of happens when you take that knowledge and you start making decisions in your life and business that align with who you truly are. So, Don't be afraid to let go of what's no longer serving you, even if it's scary. Your second chapter is waiting for you. And even though it might seem like it's a long way off, you don't know what's going to happen. It really is going to be even better than the first. So my words of wisdom are just to trust the process and trust yourself.
Wise words indeed. Hunter, thank you so much for sharing your story and your insights today. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate you interviewing me for the show. I just can't wait to dive into this cosmic journey with all of the listeners. Remember, if you're curious to learn more or want to connect, you can find me on the web at secondchaptersociety.com, on TikTok, or on YouTube. Stay tuned for next week's episode where we'll be talking about how the basics of astrology and what you need to know for it to benefit your business. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to shoot me a message on TikTok or connect with me on YouTube. Links can be found below in the show notes. Until next time, keep building your business with mastery and a sprinkling of magic.